Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to a video for Hecatomb, a hex-based horror game, card game. This is going to be a sort of unboxing. I've owned this game for a long time. I have the three different sets. I don't have a full set of everything, but I have a decent amount of all of them. I thought being it's almost Halloween, I would kind of go through, explain what the game is, show off all the different cards. Um, I don't think like we're gonna make any sort of grand comeback for the game. But like, hey, maybe you might be able to pick it up at like a wholesale site or off Amazon or something cheap if it's something that's interesting. Um, so there's a lot of really neat things about this. So here are the cards. They're all hex based. Um, and they're clear on 4 of the 5 sides. And what you're trying to do is, if you played something like Magic the Gathering, it shares a lot of similarities with that. Is you're going to play cards down there, either minions, which are basically your creature types, or you're going to have other cards that can be. I'm gonna try and grab one here, and everything I grab is gonna be a minion because they're the most common type. You can get things like fate cards, which are kind of like spells, or mystical things like that. And there's a couple other different cards. There's relics that stay in play, which represent physical objects. And what you're trying to do then is defeat your opponent. And not with a life total, but this one instead you have to collect 20 souls. And as every time basically you damage your opponent, you gain souls that they have. Now you might be like, well, okay, that's kind of... So it's an interesting thing, because every turn you're always gaining souls. And then you hit your opponent, you can take some of theirs. So even if you're getting way ahead of the game for some reason on one turn, and you knock a bunch of their stuff out, if they don't have any souls, then you're only going to be milking them for 1 or 2 at a time. It's the kind of thing. But what's neat about it is what happens is when you're playing these creatures down, so you play like this guy first, and then my next turn, I can play on this guy on top. And now it does is it gives me this 3 strength plus 4 strength, not just 7 strength creature. So they get bigger as they keep combining, plus they gain extra abilities. And you can play guys with different colors. So I play a red one, he's going to gain some extra different things. And I could play like this green one on top of him. He's going to gain some more. And you can play up to... that one wouldn't work, so it's not a creature, but, you could play up to 5 different creatures on top of each other. Could create bigger and more deadly monsters. So now, just a quick forewarning before we get any farther into this, I'm going to go over the rule book here. But this does have, some maybe graphic or images, horror images, themes such as, cultists, gods, you're trying to take over the world, essentially. So just bear that in mind, that if you are, if you are gonna watch this, there is those types of demonic themes, potentially demonic stuff. There's curses, there's various ghouls, goblins, monsters, all that type of stuff. So there we go. I just want to put that as just a warning. So I'm not going to read over every single part of the rule. I just thought I'd show the book up. I had to go to Board Game Geek because I couldn't find my instruction book anywhere I looked. So if you want to double check the rules and you don't want to sit here and have to keep pausing my video, you can go to BoardGameGeek.com, look up Hecatomb, and find the rules. But the overview is the world is on edge of apocalypse. Sinister gods, primeval things are starting to attack. To wage battle against each other, the Endbringers merge natural and unnatural creatures into hybrids called abominations, which reap souls for their masters. So you're trying to do is gain 20 souls. 2 or more players, this is fine, because you can play with multiple players. So if you can pick up like a full deck or full box of this, you can play 3-4 players probably fairly quickly. When you're trying to build abominations to steal your enemy's souls, also use fakes, relics, and unholy gods to defeat your enemies. So there's different parts of a card, which we'll kind of look at when we look at the card. So I'm going to kind of just skip through some of these a little bit quicker. There are 4 different types of dooms. These are your colors. There's corruption, which are the black or gray cards. Deceit, which are blue. Destruction, which are red. And green, which are greed. So corruption's kind of like... is sort of like... each one has their own things. Like, you'll link them to magic if you play magic, but they're not directly that. Then there's 4 main types of cards. There's minions, which are your main attack, your source of attacking. Fates, which are invocations, curses, tactics, mishaps. They're one-time effects. They come in, they do something, they go away. Relics, magical or technological devices that stay in play and help you out, or until they use an effect and go away. And then finally, there are limited number of gods, which basically have like super-powered effects. So basically, you're playing your game. You can play any card as a mana card. So this is more similar to not Magic the Gathering, but something I think like Duel Masters does it. Versus System does it. But basically, you can play a card upside down, or however you want. You can even flip them this direction if that's easier, so you don't get them confused. I think there might be some things you have to see the card. I'm not for sure. But basically, yeah, your play zone, relics, gods kind of go off by themselves. Deck, graveyard, hand. And then you have your mana cards that you tap to produce mana. So, get rid of this card because it's later in the game. I don't need it. I can use that to play a higher cost card. Deck, hand, mana zone, play zone, all those things. We kind of went over that. So what you do on your turn, shuffle your decks, place the soul counter so you have to have something. Each player takes 5 cards. Decide who takes the first turn. So you need to get 20, but you start with 5. But remember that you're taking them from each other player. But then it says at the beginning of the turn you're going to gain 1 soul. So it does make this game interesting because unlike potentially something like Magic where there could be a 1-turn win or a 2-turn win, or the game could play for 40 minutes. This game is going to have an inevitable conclusion because every turn you're gaining a soul. So unless for some reason someone keeps removing souls from the game, which I'm sure there's a way to do that, but you have to be doing that at a very high capacity, because otherwise if you're playing 2 players, everyone's going to gain a soul every turn. So even if you never attack each other, it's only going to last then 15 turns because you start with 5. So then essentially like you just sat there for 14 turns and attacked your opponent and took 5 of their souls, you could win the game. But at least that's kind of an interesting little factor of that. Then your main phase, and this is actually very interesting. In any order, you can add 1 mana card once per turn, play cards, and attack. And so why I say that's interesting, so you gain a soul, untap your cards, draw 2 cards, add your mana card, play cards. Tap for mana. So on the top card here, like this says 5, that's going to be how much it costs to spend. This guy only costs 2. So it says tap unnumber, tap at least one of those mana cards must be as the same doom. So they must be the same color. So this is a thing again where you don't want to necessarily play all 4 colors. You can. It's going to be harder to make sure you have the correct colors out when you need them. But being that you only need at least 1 is the thing is if I have 3 blue and 2 black cards out, I can either play 2 green or I can play 3 black cards depending on how many the other manas are. But if all of a sudden I spend those 2 blue, I can't play any more blue cards. So you kind of gotta watch that too. And then it says play minions. Put minion into play in either its own abomination or an existing abomination. So if it's a one card character, it can't attack or block. It just sits there, it kind of starts everything. But then after that, you start adding to it. So you gotta kind of play this game of, do I keep trying to pump up and have one big giant creature, or do I try and have an army of small creatures? Faggies versus weenies. If you're a gaming person, you'll get what that means then. But you can't have more than 5. Then Fates, you can play 1 at a time. relics, playing gods, attacking. So the attacking in here is very interesting. So it says down here, you can send one or more abominations to attacking enemy turn. So you can attack as many times as you like. You may attack one enemy each time you attack, and you can attack the same enemy more than once. So this is if you're playing, a 3-4 player game. You can attack guy A, then you can attack guy B, then you can turn back around and attack guy A if you'd like. But what's also neat is because if I have 5 abominations in play, I can send 2 of them to attack guy A. And I can do all my attacking stuff, finish up that whole thing. I can play other cards, play more play more abominations, do more other stuff. And I can turn around and attack player B if I like. Or I can attack player A again. And I can attack with one of my guys, or 2 of my other guys, or all 3 of my last guys. Just remember though, is when you attack, you have to tap them, so then they're not available to block. So it's like very Magic the Gathering. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing that way. But that's what's neat, is because it's like, again, I always compare this to Magic, because it's also by Wizards of the Coast, which is the same company. Is that when you're attacking in Magic, you have one phase to attack, and you attack with it. So you can attack with as few or as many creatures as you like, but then you're done. This game, you can turn starts, you can attack right away, then turn around and play a bunch of cards, and then attack again, play some more cards. Or you could play all your cards you want, then attack, or attack with everybody, then play other cards. As long as you do all that stuff, it doesn't matter. So it's very, very different things. So declaring attackers, you choose who you're going to attack, show which monsters you're going to attack with. Then you have the option to play fate or combat cards. So some of the cards will say combat on them. So like this one says combat fate. These are basically like your instances in Magic. So like the other ones, you can play them at any time. It doesn't matter, before or after combat. But if they have combat, you can also play them during combat. But then, as the attacker, or aggressor as they call them here, you get to play first. Then your opponent can also play cards. Then they choose their blockers. So they might play she might play something, and then you might be like, okay, I'm doing this, now this guy's worried, let me play something to boost this up, or do that. Or maybe they have a special ability if they're played during combat. Then your opponent decides to do something. Maybe they want to just get rid of one of your guys ahead of time. They can go ahead and do that. Then they can assign their blockers. Then you get to play more fate cards or combat cards. And then you reap souls. So each attacker that wasn't blocked reaped the number of souls equal to its size. So if it's a 2 stacked creature, like 3 stacked, you get 3. 2, it gets 2. If they block any of it, it doesn't count. And that's basically how it is. And then each blocker assigns damage to its, each attacker assigns damage to its blocker, each blocker assigns damage to attacker. So they hit each other, but they don't reap souls. And if an abomination takes damage at least as great to its total strength, it is destroyed. If it takes less damage, some or all of its minions may survive. Now, this is what is a really neat thing. So we're going to get, where is that? This is just explaining how effects, there's different effects that do different things. Subtypes that refer to stuff. This is how damage works. And this is what I also think is a really cool aspect for this game, besides just stacking and making bigger creatures. So this first example is your abomination has 5 strength. It has a 3 and a 2 strength minion. It takes 5 damage. It's destroyed. But now in the next example, it has 6 strength. It takes 5 damage, which is enough to destroy the top 2. So you destroy them top down. So it does 1 damage, which leaves 4 damage left. Then 3 damage, with 1 damage left. That 1 damage won't just defeat that last 2 strength monster. And then even in the last one, here we have an abomination that has 12 strength. It's a big giant guy. But it takes that 5 damage, but its top one is 6. That 6 strength protects everything. So to even start destroying this guy, they have to do bare minimum of 6 damage to it. Then the rest of it's going to fall pretty quick. And this is what makes this game very interesting, because while you're trying to decide to build up your guys, and then whether to attack or not, sometimes is you risk sacrificing a smaller creature, maybe get rid of your opponent's smaller creature or some of their stuff, or do you wait until you can play a big giant creature on top, or do you just hope that, hey, if I have a bunch of 2s and 3s and they add up to like 8 damage, that's enough for me to attack, or do I wait until I can play like a 5 strength creature on top to basically help protect everything below? So it's a neat little back and forth with that. If anything ever has 0 for any reason, as soon as it gets attacked, it's destroyed. It stays on the table, providing any abilities or any of that stuff it might have, but as soon as it gets hit, it's just automatically booted and gone. And then here's the glossary of a bunch of other stuff. So there are some special keywords in here. There's stuff like Evader here, which, so if it has Evader, it can't be blocked by minions of that certain thing. So Greed Evader can't be blocked by abominations that have a Greed minion. So this is an advantage of playing multicolor, so that if you only play one color, all as an opponent will need is one card like that to stop all your characters, type of thing. We have like Fanatic here. Abomination and Fanatic can't attack, or can attack even if you've played a minion this turn. Normally, you can't attack the first time a minion is played. This is whether it's a brand new character or if you add on to it. So sometimes they recommend you might want to attack first, and then if you survive your attack, then you can play something on top of that to bolster it for the next turn. We have stuff like Follower. It can only be played if you control a guard. Guardian, which is basically it can't attack, it's a blocker. Host, which has to be played first. Hunter, you can choose an enemy to force the block instead of letting your opponent pick. We have Martyr down here. If it's destroyed, it becomes mana. Nemesis can't be the target of abilities of a certain thing. So if Evader evades attacks, Nemesis evades abilities. Parasite, you can't play other minions on top of it. We have Rager X and Reaper X. Basically, they get plus strength or plus reaping when they do their stuff. Regenerator goes back to its hand when it's destroyed. Ripper's a very neat one. So Abomination with Ripper ability, when it deals damage, you may distribute that damage however you like amongst the blocker's minions. So therefore, like that one example we had, the 6, it was like a bunch of 1s and 2s. You can skip that 6, take out everything below it. So Reaper's a super powerful ability. Soulbound's pretty fun. When it be destroyed, you instead stick it. It just means attach it to another minion. You have Survivor X. When it blocks, it ignores the first X damage. And there we go. There's a bunch of other different concepts in here too. I'm just going to kind of skip those. It's just talking about that. Alright, and then here's kind of how the different cards are laid out. So let's go ahead and look at them. Alright, so sorry for the long intro and everything. There are 3 different sets that came out. There's the base set. This is called Hecatomb. So it'll have a number 1 on the bottom, and then the other one will have 2 and 3. After that came out Last Hollow's Eve. And then finally, which is more like a Halloween-y themed one versus just gods and demons. And then we had Blankets of Lies, which added lots of aliens and like technology type stuff. So there's definitely some neat things. The other thing you could buy if you find is this deck box for them, which is actually pretty neat. It's really only useful for these, but you can go ahead and buy it and stick your deck in there. I think it came with a divider as well, so if you had like 2 separate decks in there maybe. But let's look at one of our cards. Alright. So now I'm just going to go through all the different cards in the sets. I'm not going to read through every single thing on every card, but we're just going to kind of go through and look at them. But we got this. So this is a Alistarian. He's a minion demon. He costs 5, and he's part of the... see if I have my list there. It's the Corruption. The Greys are Corruption. So there's Greed Evader. So it has a strength of 3, and you see, and then they have a little flavor text on the bottom, which is kind of fun. They have their set number, so this is number 2 of 144. The first and second set both have 144 cards. The third set has 72. And then there's commons, which are circles, uncommons, which I believe were diamonds, and then rares, which were stars, which is how, like, this Pokemon set up. And then they'll have, like, a little flavor text. So then the other thing they also have on some of these cards are these little triangles here on the side, which are called trigger abilities. So certain characters will have a special ability. So like this guy's text down here is black. This guy's down here is blue. So if I play him on top of a card, and this little circle in there matches that color, that activates that ability. So this Abhorrent Enforcer gains an ability if you play on top of a blue Deceit creature. And then we're going to have one like this where it gains if you play on top of a green creature. So again, this is one of the neat things that works for playing cards of different the different colors. Again, I don't know if you want to play all 5 necessarily, but I can definitely see trying to at least do at least 2. But maybe having all 4. But I think having all 4 because there's colorless mana, essentially. You just have to have one of the other colors. As long as you have an even amount, you could probably draw them well enough. Alright, so we're going to hop through a bunch of these. So we have a card like this, which is Agonal, and I'm probably going to mispronounce lots of these names. But he says, so he only costs 2. And his strength is 4. So he has a higher strength than the other guy. But his thing is he's a host. So he has to be played on the bottom. So that's why he costs a little bit cheaper. But he also has to attack each turn if able. So that would basically mean if I played him first, I could play him on top of him. And then what I'd do is I'd have a 7 cost creature that could evade greed characters, can't be blocked by them, but has to attack every turn. So this might be a guy that you might want to wait until maybe you can play 2 or 3 guys on top of him. Because again, he can't attack if he's by himself. Alright, so let's jump through some more of these. We have, and these are going to be in alphabetical order rather than by color. So we have Agnema. So this is a demon for the destruction, right? It's destruction. So it has Parasite, which means it has to be on the top. Or once you play it, you can't play anything on top. Then we have our first Fate. This is actually a combat base. It's an invocation. It's Armor Graft. So it costs X. And then down here is it's going to be its ability. It says target abomination gets survivor plus X. And this is just till the end of the turn. So it's definitely a fun thing. But since you can play it during combat, that is really cool. And you can play it again before or after blockers. So you could wait to see if someone blocks you, whether it's worth you playing that to gain that bonus. Like, hey, I'm going to defeat this guy, and like he's not going to be able to hurt my top guy because he blocked with someone that, can't take out my top person. Great, then I don't have to worry about playing this. But maybe if you play something that's weak on top to entice them to bring a guy over, then you can go ahead and do that. Evasculate, another Fate. This is a combat Fate, which is a curse, which costs 6. It says, destroy target non-guardian minion. Just straight up destroying a minion. Now, the difference between a minion and an abomination is a minion is 1 card, and abomination is the group of cards. So, destroying any minion is definitely nice, but it only destroys the top card of it, not any of them. But we're going to have some phones here. We have Baby Blood Monkey. When you play this card, discard 1 card. Very cheap, little cost effect, things like that happen. Being from Beyond. Whenever this reaps, discard, then draw 1 card. And you're going to kind of start seeing the themings of these. We have a regular Blood Monkey, which has a Ripper. Then he also has a trigger ability on here. It says, untap target Deceit Abomination. So he gets to come in, he gets to choose, plus he can untap target. And it could be one you play with him. So like you could attack with something, then play this on top of one after the attack to untap it and have it ready to attack again, or block. Definitely cool effect. We have Bloodlust. Untapped target abomination. It gets +2 strength. Well, play only while defending. So this has a little stimulation, but extra strength is always nice. We have a relic. So the relics play, they stay in place. So if you play this Bloodstone, it says destruction fates cost 1 less. So this is definitely a great one to have. Out. That's a rare card, of course. We have Brain Surgeon, who has an undead, who has Exhume. Exhume target greed minion creatures. So what does Exhume do? Off the top of my head, I don't remember. So we'll look this up quick. Take 1 or more cards from a graveyard and put them into their owner's hand. So Exhume is just pulling cards back out of your graveyard, so you get a guy back. Makes sense. Breath Stealer. Whenever this reaps, destroy target non-guardian minion defender controls. So it says a minion is only a minion when it's in the play zone. When it's in other zones, it's a minion card. So you can't target a minion. And a minion or a stack of minions in play. So Abomination is a minion? I'm just trying to find that out. So I just said that. Destroy. I am going to pause for a sec. Alright, let's hop back into this. We have a Cultist here, a Bringer of Sacrifice. You can gain a soul. So this is definitely a great card to have too. He only costs 2, gets you an extra soul, so you start off with 5, you play him, let's say, on turn 2. Boom, all of a sudden now you have an extra soul, which will just help you get you that much closer. The Bow of Minos. This minion gets 1 strength for each other minion in this abomination, and then target player loses a soul. So this is the other way of like why the game can go a little bit longer than that 15 turns. Just because you could keep playing stuff like this that makes people lose souls, but then there's also cards that make you gain. And again, that 15 turns would only be assuming nobody stole souls from anybody else. I mean, throughout the course of over those 15 turns, assuming you stole 5 souls from somebody else, you have 10. Now you only need to collect 10 more. So if it took you 5 turns to collect 5 souls, now you only need, to collect 10 more. So it's going to reduce the amount of time. We have the Butcher. Deal 3 damage to target abomination. And this will always do damage top down. The Bakahi, so if you're like Cthulhu-esque stuff, this or Arkham games, HP Lovecraft, this would definitely be something you'd know. 7 cost, but he does 5. Callowed Believer, discard and draw. And then they have fun little flavor text on some of the bottom. Like, don't be silly. Would I send my newest pupil in danger? We have a Cephalopod. This is an octopus type, untapped target abomination. 8 arms, 8,000 mouths. Silhouetto. Like tap target strength 5 or less abomination. Just kind of basically. So this is like an Aztekio. This is from the Aztec groups. Yeah, there's something fun like this. You can like tap them, but you have to play on top of a corruption. We have Corrosive Goo. Whenever this becomes blocked, you may sacrifice a relic to give this Rager +3. And its effect is destroy target relic, deal damage to that relic's cost. Deal damage equal to that relic's cost to target abomination. So that's kind of neat. You could, this guy can sacrifice relics to either do an effect, or destroy relics. It's kind of fun. A creature from Xylo. Stitch one of your minions into this abomination. So basically you pull a different minion out and add it to that creature. That's also combat, so basically you can throw another character on there quick. Cruel Reaper. Reaper plus 4. If this abomination attacks, destroy this minion at the end of turn. There we go. Crypt Caller. Zoom target minion. Just a regular fate. Curse of the Ancients. 3 damage to each abomination. Now this does it to all of them. So you have to watch what you have. But, you know, mass effects like that are kind of fun sometimes. Damned Thing. Parasite, Destruction Evader. Very powerful. Dark Genesis. Stitch up to 3 of your minions together. Daughter of Blood. Devoted One. Ebriel. So whenever it reaps, exile target minion defender controls. That is crazy because if he does it, he's going to... If they don't block him, you know, although he's only 2 strength, he starts as 2 strength, so not much, but if you can get him higher up, they're going to need to go there. They're going to keep losing guys. We have the animate. This is kind of cool. These are animated objects. The Eviscerator. Each enemy loses 1 soul. So this one's not maybe as powerful as in a 2-player game, as opposed to you're playing like a 4-player game. Feculus the Sewer Lord. Yep, that's what we think it is. We have a Filth Rat. Draw 1. Fire Overwhelming. Target abomination deals X damage more in combat. 5 space interloper. The Flying Pulp. Food poisoning. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff where your abominations, especially like certain minions in your abomination, aren't going to survive very long. So, like, again, maybe comparing this to, like, Magic the Gathering, sometimes you can play your creatures and they're going to stay out for a while because they're big enough to survive attacks, or unless you sacrifice them to a blocking for some reason, you might keep some of your guys out. I think these guys, you're going to be getting rid of guys fairly quick. Whether something's dealing extra damage to them, and that's the whole point, is it's not supposed to be generally trying to amass, like, 10 abominations and then doing a mass attack. The thing is, you're probably gonna maybe like 2 or 3 out at a time. So this is kind of neat. So food poisoning, abominations deal no combat damage this turn. Forbidden Word. Each enemy loses 2 souls. Forsaken Shell. Gatekeeper. Deal the top card of each enemy's deck. You may play any revealed fates for no cost. Oh, that's crazy. Ghoulish Reanimator. So now this should be a neat one where if you could play that and then you play another one of them other ones that does another reap on top of it, you could get a bunch of reaping effects and keep sacrificing them guys. Like red's dealing a lot of direct damage. Blue is a lot of drawing cards and discarding, like hand manipulation. Green is like graveyard stuff. And then black is kind of just like, you know, destroying certain things here and there. Not doing direct damage, but getting rid of things. Here you have the Gift of Hades. Target abomination gets Survivor +3. Glimpse of the Cosmos. Each enemy discards 2. Gloretta the Collector. Whenever this attacks, destroy target mana card. Ooh, just for attacking. Gluttonous Fleshbag. He's just eating that guy whole. Survivor +X. X is his abomination size. So the bigger he is, the harder he is to kill. Great Mother. Can't be blocked by Abomination with less strength. And he starts with 6. So that's going to be hefty. But again, it costs 7 to play that. Now, if you play it by itself, it can't do anything. You have to play it on top of something. But if you play it on anything else, so it's 6 plus whatever else you play. It's just going to be hard to defeat. And then the bigger you play it, the better. We have Greater Wolfling. Put the top card of your deck in your mana zone. Stuff like that can be very helpful messing with people's minds. So here's our first God card. We have Hades, Lord of the Underworld. God costs 8. I believe this is Greed, right? Yep, Greed is green. Move all minion cards in your graveyard and put them under this. Whenever you play a minion, stitch 1 card from this onto that minion. So that is actually really fun. So whenever you play a minion card, whether it's by itself or onto an Abomination, you get to add another card to it. So later in the game, when you have a bunch of these guys that have all died, Hades can be like, boom, hey, you know what? From now on, as long as I'm out here, your guys die. I'm going to bring all these dead guys back. He's going to store them all, and then you can go ahead and use them. So that's definitely a fun thing. I don't know if I have all 4 gods or not. We have Harbiter. Have. Sever target minion from attacking abominations. That's kind of funny. You can cut the top minion off and basically weaken him. And that's something fun. Like the example, again, if they had that 6 on top, you could get that guy, move him off by himself. Now he's 1 creature by himself. He can't attack or block. The rest of it's up for game. We have a Hecatomb. When you play this, lose 1 soul. So yeah, 1 cost, but you're going to lose your soul. But the thing is, you get something out on turn 1. Because you can't attack with a 1 card cost. So if you have to wait till turn 2 to play a card, if that ends up happening, that sucks, but you still can't attack that guy. You have to wait till turn 3 to play a second card on top of it. This will let you get a guy out right away. It costs you 1 of your souls right away, but it gives you that extra little speed. We have the Elevator. This is a Greed Abomination. It gets plus 3 strength. So it's only a Greed Abomination if the Greed one is on top. So right now it is currently a Deceit, and then if I play like this guy on top, now it's a Greed, so now it gets plus 3. So if I play that, this guy is actually 10 strength. So that's actually pretty cool. And then with his ability, it says, when this reaps, put the top card of your deck into your mana zone. Something like that's helpful. Again, this is a good 2-cost card. So if like you played that 1-cost Cultist, lost a soul, great. That sucks, but like then you can play like this guy on top of him. Now you have a 3-cost. Now if you can reap with him, like maybe 3rd turn, play something bigger, you're gonna get more and more mana. And the thing is, you can play as many cards as you want. You're gonna draw 2 cards every turn. So you know it's not like you're gonna be like, well, I have 6 mana and that's all I'm ever gonna need. You might want 12, 13 mana. But you just gotta watch what you do, because I haven't seen any cards so far that let you play your cards back out of your mana zone. We have Hina. There's a bunch of different cards effects there. We have Hidden Power. Target Abomination gets plus 3 strength. Hound of Leng, a dog. Hungry Chupacabra with Frantic. I love his minion type is also Chupacabra. We have Hush. Each enemy puts one of their minions into its owner's mana zone untapped. So it's actually kind of fun. I mean, it's not super helpful for you, but it helps your opponents out because it gets some extra mana, but it also might get rid of one of their top card. Hypersonic Fiend, Cultist. Impale. It was only a dream. Exile target minion or relic. A Crocothrope. I love this. It's a werewolf crocodile, essentially. That is awesome. Life Extraction, which is a tactic. We have our second god. We have Loki, the Prince of Treachery, which makes sense for deceit. Reap a number of souls from target abominations controller equal to its size. It's actually coming to play effect. Number of souls from target abominations controller equal to, so it's up to 5. I mean, just that's not bad. You may play minions as combat fates at the end of any player's turn. Ooh, that's crazy. So basically, end of anybody's turn, you can just play your minions out. So if like you have multiple people playing, you can play extra cards quicker. Definitely a fun one. And being like these are gods and not minions or abominations, once your god comes out, there's very few ways to get rid of them. Lord of Sacrifices. Host, Guardian, Angry Generator. Manacle Silverback. We have Mawblade, exile target minion. Mechacow. Megalene Kids, of course, by one we have some Megalene Kids. Each enemy sacrifices a mana card. Little Bastards, one of the Endbringers. Midnight Snack. Mindless Servant. Mr. Bananas. Plus Guardians of Deceit, it can attack as though if it were to Guardian. We have our third god. We have the second Greed. So we have Moloch, Eater of Children. Put a minion from your mana zone into play. So there we go. That's an awesome ability, because if you know you have him in your deck, and you can get him, he basically like, hey, I can play one of my really high cost minions right off the bat, knowing that later I get to play him for free. You may play minions from your mana zone. Their summon effects don't happen, so that's a great one. You can play some of your higher cost guys with this, especially if you're using the Greed. I'm pretty sure though you can only have one guy out at a time, but that's definitely fun. We have Murder of Crows. Strike target mana card. Put the top card of your deck into your mana zone. That's even better. Then his Martyr goes to his mana zone as well. Nahal. Nibros. Needle Shaman. Nephilim. It's a giant. Night Child. Inebriating Elephant. 100 Lashes. Target Demon Abomination gets frantic. So I think that's the first one we've seen where it specifies another creature type. Which I'm sure there's more of them in like the expansion sets. Open the Tomb. Just as revealing the Aztecio minion cards. Reveal top 2 cards of your deck, put any revealed Aztecio minion cards into play. Yes, this is fun, we're getting some of them. Orathon. Price of Insolence. X plus 2 X damage to target abomination. Primeval Larva. It's an ancient larva. Cost 5, has 2 strength, but destroy target 3 minion. Panthos. Raging Gortusk. The Ravenmancer. Ravenous Reaver, sorry, I misread that. Razorwire Artist. Reprocess. Roach Keeper. Rune Sifter. Scarist. Sermon of Lies. Shuffle target god into its owner's deck. So there is at least one card that gets rid of a god. We have our second god, or fourth god. We have a Destruction. We have Set. God of Slaughter. Abominations can't block. Oh, so this is a double all your non-combat damage. So this is really fun, because lots of red cards have stuff that deal multiple damage to cards, so you're basically going to be trying to destroy minions left and right by playing them, and then since things can't block, basically if you can kill all your opponent's minions quicker so they do less damage, less size, or their abominations so they do less size damage, and you can hit with your higher ones, you can reap souls that much quicker. So we just need at least a Corruption God. I don't know if we have all of them. Shogoth, which I'm not sure how he's not one of the gods. He's an elder, or an elder thing at least. Skin Melder, Skin Taker, Slaughter Wheel. Each anime abomination gets +2 strength. Now imagine if you combine a bunch of these together. Slimoid. Smothering Curtains. Soul Drain. Spirit of Fury. Psychosis. We only got a couple more left for the first set. We have Suckling. Sunder. Surrounded by Idiots. It's just kind of a funny one. Hecatomb? Sure, I butchered that name. Techno-Chilean King. Some more Aztecio. 1,000 faced one. 1,000 faced one, not 1,000. Thuklos. There's our other red gods. We have our 2 green, our 2 red, and we've had 1 blue. We have Tiamat, Chaos Incarnate. Destroy all abominations. Your dragon abominations have Frantic, which means they can attack as soon as they're played. That's kind of crazy. So that's setting up a little bit different. It's like where sets was all about just destroying, like doing lots of mass damage. His is just wipe the field, start over. Hopefully you have a bunch of dragons sitting in your hand to play. We have Torment. True Gargoyle. Twinged Husk. Unholy Fusion. Unspeakable Talisman. So this is another relic. I haven't seen a ton of the relics. Whenever a mana card is tapped for mana, it produces 1 extra mana. Victimize. Vision of Death. Weretic. Winchester Blessing. And finally, Yofika? It's a demon. Alright, so that was set 1. That's the base set. So we're going to hop through the other 2 sets. This will be a little bit longer video, but then you kind of get to see what's all in there. So now this is the second set, which is Last Hallows Eve. So this is going to have a little bit, I think more like folklore, type setting to it. Like the first one is just kind of like lots of demons, cultists, and things like that. I think this one then hops into more of like myth and legends, I believe. I haven't looked at these in forever. But we have Abhorrent Enforcer. Asima. Put target demon minion card from your graveyard into play. Ooh, so that's kind of fun. This abomination has 3 strength for each demon, so we have a lot more special abilities because it's not the base set. So now we're going to add this tap symbol in here. So it says tap 5 to put a 2 cost minion card from your graveyard into play. So what this basically means is you can tap 5 cards, basically spend 5 extra mana, essentially, to play this special ability. Ooh, so we're going to get a god right off the bat. We haven't seen a corruption god. We have Amatsu, So this is a Japanese god. Dread Star of Heaven. Remove all fate cards in your graveyard and put them under this. Whenever you play a fate, you may play fates from under this card for no cost. Oh, that's crazy. So basically, like the other guy did, like Hades did for his, the guys in the graveyard. He's gonna do a very similar thing with all the fates. That's awesome. Amorphous Psychic. Here's a relic right away. The Ancient Maiden. Whenever an abomination attacks you, may tap target abomination. Ankle Biters. Anagavolian. So that's a pay 1 to tap target card. So this is what, makes some of your guys, so this is going to add that effect in there that, some of your creatures you might decide not to attack with just for that reason. But you might need to still boost them up and strengthen up in case you have to. We have another god right away. We have Ares, the Devastator. Untap all your abominations. Your abominations have Rager +5. Yes, you're not like destroying all of them, or dealing extra damage, but Rager +5 is pretty crazy. Being that Rager gets you X attack, I believe, right? Yep. Abomination with Rager gets +X strength while attacking, so they all have an additional 5 while attacking. It doesn't give them extra defense, but yeah, that's pretty sweet. Aura Projector. We have lots of gods right away in this set. We have Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies. Discard your hand, draw 4 cards. Whenever one of your abomination attacks, you may draw 1. Yeah, so it's kind of nice, basically get a new hand of cards. You know you're going to play him, so you know you can kind of plan for that discard in your hand. You can discard if you have 1 or 0 cards. Whenever one of your abomination attacks, you draw cards. Basically, with him, you're getting more hand resources. You get to play a lot more because you'll have more cards coming in. Bastus Priestess and Anubians. We're going to have some Anubian characters, which is kind of fun. Interesting. Deceit and Soulbong and Exhume. Sorry, I was confused by this. So we have Blackjack. So this is clearly a skeleton creature. I was just humming because I was just reading an article today about magic cards, and one of them showed a jack-o'-lantern card, and I'm pretty sure they showed this artwork. So I'm wondering if someone accidentally pulled it off of this card, if they pulled it off the magic card, or if they share the same art. They're all owned by Wizards of the Coast, so maybe Wizards of the Coast is allowed to use artwork from one game to the next. I'm not for sure. I'll have to look into that. Alright, anywho, we have Book of the Dead. We're getting some more relics in here, which are fun. Bothus Hortus. That's a fish mutant. That's crazy. The Box. All your abominations have Survivor +2. Brainworm. Cement Shoes. Charge a player puts one of their minions into their mana zone. Kalathuta Harpy. Chameel Ganger. Exile one of your minions. So, here's a question. Why would you want to exile one of your minions? That's a very good question. Chronic Fatigue. Cranial Derm. Cursed Galleon. Ooh. Whenever an enemy reaps your soul, that player discards 1 card. So 1-cost cards, especially like a relic like that, that's actually be really helpful because if you need something to play on turn 1, at least that's something that's going to benefit you every turn. Gaka Azu. So this guy has Follower. So Follower, I believe, means I have a little guide here. Unlimited Follower ability that activates only while you control a god. So you can play him normally, but he doesn't get that Survivor until you have a god. We have Dead Phones. Death Frog. Death Speaker. Death Song Shrieker. A Deep Lurker. We have some fishing here. We have Destroy Them All. Each enemy discards one card for each of your abominations. Dimensional Rift. Divine Mantis Punch. It's Frantic and Ripper. The Dog of War. So you have a lot more follower cards. I figured by the time you bought the second set, you would have a God card for sure. We have Double Thinker. Draveluk the Breeder. Einhort. We have an Elder Sign. When enemy would reap 3 or more souls from you sacrifice to make them reap 2 instead. So not the best, but if you need something to play, doesn't hurt. Evil Spawn. Experiment 17. Felis Mortis. Filth Dweller. Finger Walker. That is creepy as hell. Forming Elder. The giant. Got some giants in here. Fortune Soldier. Fricate? Castrate. When this reads goes to this defender's hand, they discard a card of your choice. And then if you match the ability, each enemy discards 1. Gift of Yogg Sothoth. Each player sacrifices a minion. Greater Kanashu. Exhume target mutant. Grim Judge. Revive a demon. Nice. We have a Gug. Some Elder Lovecraftian stuff. Hatchcloth. Hecatomb. This is an ancient. 10 strength. Look at that. That's crazy. No other special abilities though. Hell on Wheels. Target Abomination can't attack. It can attack as though it weren't a guardian. Hippogog. Greed Soulbone. The top minion in each of your abominations has the dooms of all the minions under it in addition to its other dooms. Ooh, that could be definitely great. He's a Nubian. You have a Hiveling. A Horseman of War. So, we only got 1 Horseman, so I wonder if they did make the other ones in the 3rd set, maybe? Because it says retrieve a Horseman card. Or did I just not get them? That's 65, 66, 67. Yes, maybe they released them later. Or maybe they're under a different name. All abominations attack this turn if able. This gets Ripper +2 for each of your tapped abominations. Of course, you can also have multiple copies of these cards, too. That's also one thing I haven't really been bringing up, is that it's not like I can only have 1 copy of every card, so having multiple copies of some of these can definitely see what could happen. Target Abomination gets Frantic, Infestation, Infusion. Did I miss the part? when it said how many cards had to be in your deck. I bet you I did. Deck has to have at least 40 cards. You can have no more than 3 copies of a card in your deck. Shuffle your deck and place it face down. If you run out of cards, you keep playing. You can't draw any more cards, but otherwise play normally. Oh, that I did not. That makes sense. So, like Mike Magic, if you run out, you're done. Except this time, the game's not over. You just can't play. Just can't do anything more. So, drawing too many cards isn't necessarily a bad thing. Interactive television. The Jackal Shaman. Zoom target Soulbound card. That's actually cool too. Jaguar Warrior. Jeweled Heirloom. Or Heirloom. I learned how to pronounce my words right. Jungle Hunter. Comsies. Killer Party. Each player suffers their greatest strength minion. If there's a tie, they choose from among their tied minions. Labrys. Once each turn, they discard a non-minion card as a combat fate to give it target abomination +2 strength. Locust Swarm. Comes in, it's not very bad, but destroys one size abomination. That's actually not too bad. Get rid of their starting thing. We have a Meat Shooter. Monkey's Paw. Mountain Sasquatch. Naive Pawn. Needle Slave. Night Thorn. So you're getting a lot more of these abilities on the top too, like Greed and Corruption, Version, Soulbound, and all that. They didn't have as many of them in the first set. They're coming out with more of them in the second. Obsidian Skull. Abomination can't block Abomination. Have more minions than they do. Obra. Overdue Feeding Time. Pain Merchant. Power Outage. Tap all mana cards controlled by target enemy. Oh boy, that would suck because it would also prevent them from playing more cards that turn. Quaggle. Questionable Virginity. Target players' mana cards that have Doom of your choice don't untap at the start of their next turn. Rob the Tomb. Ruined Charger. Runic Sorcerer. Sanguimancer. It's not like 3 gods like right off the bat, and then we haven't seen any since that. Scepter of Osiris. Scareman. Oh, gotta have a second Scepter of Osiris in there. Nah, probably just miscounted my cards. Screaming Mold. Scream Roller. Shimung. It's a demon. I thought it was a dragon. Skinny Peak. Sway Jacket. Smothering Ooze. Soldier of the Sun. Spear of Destiny. Your abominations untap at the end of each of your turns. Oh, that's crazy. Spirit Warrior. Spiteful Flame. Staff of Ziptoic. Star-Flung Nightmares. Stone Stalkers. Symbiotic Appendage. Cathalok Prophet. A Twilight Quickling. There's a lot more of these follower cards in this set as well. Tiz Tiz Tezao. Gain 1 soul. We haven't seen too many of those lately. Unbound Ba. Uncle Andrew's a relic. The player who has the most souls doesn't get this soul at the start of each turn. If there's a tie, this has no effect. That's kind of cool. Unsafe. This doesn't deal or receive combat damage. Ooh. So you play that with a good one. And then it's a combination of 6 right, 6 left, 6 right, so 666. Vain Horror. Voice of Whisper. Watcher in the Vault. It's another dragon. Willing Sacrifice. Winged Walker. Zolhuvian Priest. Another Cthulhu Elder Sign stuff. The Yellow Sign. Each of your top minions has followers of Abomination gets 2 strength. And then finally we have Zerlich. So we did not get any more gods. We only got about 3. I think I had I bought at least 1 booster box of each of these. So I mean, if I got about 3 of, I'm guessing 8 gods, probably 2 of each color. It's not great odds. If I got 3 or 4 in each set, got about half of them. But at least it gets you an idea. I would maybe argue if I'm playing this with, if I bought this, I'm just going to play this with my friends or family at home, I would say each deck has to have a god. So if, we have 4 players and we only have, and you, for some reason, only have 2 god cards, I would say nobody can play a god unless everybody can play a god. Just because it seems a little unbalanced. Not to say there might not be people that might not want to make decks that don't have a god for some reason. But I don't know why you wouldn't want at least one. I don't think there's a limit on them. So, let me check quick here. So the next set we have coming up, that is Blankets of Lies. So I know this one is more of a science fiction, alien thing. I thought the last one was about, I thought the last one was, myths and stuff. It kind of was, but not maybe as much as I thought it was. Also, these are 13 card booster packs, just number 13. So it says gods here. A type of god you play has both one-time effect and a continual effect. Stays in play indefinitely. If you play another god, sacrifice the old one. So you can play multiple gods. You just can only play one at a time. I do like that there was only the it doesn't say anything about not having multiple copies. So if you got 3 of the same, you have 3 copies of a god in your deck if you really want to. I like that there's only the 3 rarities. Too many games nowadays have super rares and secret rares and ultra rares and ghost rares and god rares and all this. And it's I don't like games where I have to I'm fine having a rare, even if it's 1 rare per pack, and there's 20 rares in the set. I know I have a decent chance of finding all of them. But when it's oh, this rare is 1 per box, it's I don't want to buy, have to buy 3 boxes of cards to hope that, or buy 2 boxes and hope that the 2, if I get 1 in each box, which is not a guarantee, and then also hope that I don't get a duplicate of it. And then some are even rarer than that, which kind of sucks. Alright, so let's hop through this last set. We have 0001. He's a minion, and he's an agent. Agent is definitely a new type we haven't seen before. All-Terrain Victimizer. Area 51. Conspiracy. Whenever there's an abomination reaps your souls, shuffle its top minion into its owner's deck. Assimilation. Now, that's the only thing that kind of sucks about these, is like shuffling. They kind of get a little sticky together. As you can kind of tell, if I grab a bunch of these. Just shuffling is kind of a pain. And I don't think there's really sleeves for these, because I think this is the only game I've ever seen like this. Not to say they don't have sleeves, just I'm not sure. I haven't looked. Assimilation. Now there are more conspiracies. Exhume up to 3 relic cards. Atomic Disperser. This is actually kind of neat. This is a new thing. This is a relic minion. It's treated as a relic, but you may also put it into an abomination. And it says tap 1. Target enemy with more souls than you loses 1 soul, you gain 1 soul. So basically it's a guy that can scale and activate his relic abilities. We have Bat Boy. Here's our first god. We have Benaris, father of the code.com. At the end of your turn, untap all your abominations. At the end of each of your turns, untap all your mana cards. So now we had one other god that lets you just untap them all, and then it gave them Rager +5. Was that Ares, I think? So this is kind of interesting. That just did 1 untap, and then lets you go. This one untaps them all at the end of your turn. So basically lets you set them up for blocking, and then untap all your mana, so you have them ready for defending. So this is all about almost like a defense character. It's just kind of interesting. We have a purple color. I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head, as I don't think we have any purple characters. So I'm not sure how that one triggers off the top of my head. And I couldn't find any rule books or anything with that. So I am not for sure. I'll try and look it up when I can. We have Bounty Hunter. We have a Buzzsaw. Pay 1 less mana to play a relic minion on this abomination to a minimum of 1. Ooh, neat. Chithing Queen. Whenever you play a fate or relic, this means it's +3 strength till the end of turn. Contamination Team. Try to target alien and enemy's mana zone. It's very specific. Dead Man's Hand. Undead Gear. Interesting. So then we have DNA Injector. One of your mains is an alien adjacent to its other subtypes. Dr. Frost. You can play host onto this. Yeah, that's cool. FLY, Fly. What does it stand for? That's classified. The First. An undead alien. Flesh Armor. Foiled again. Giant Feeder. So now we're getting a lot more things with multi-class types. We have another dragon. Glastrade. Goro Onikuma. The Grey Inquisitor. Grey Alien. So we're going to have different types of aliens. I haven't maybe seen. We have Harl Esquire. We have Haster. We have another god. I think this is our first corruption god we've gotten so far. Might be our second one. Haster the Unspeakable. Whenever you play a god, if this is in your deck, play Haster's cost to retrieve it and play it. You may double your combat damage. Ooh, so he gets to come out if you play another god. We have our third god in this set. We have our green one. We have the Hive, Drifting Plague. Sever target minion, and then your size 3+ abominations count as size 5. Yeah, so the severing thing's not super great. I mean, it's not a bad ability, but it's kind of weak for a god, I think. But the fact is, all your 3 minions now count as 5. That could have some great effects if you play it right. Holographic Decoy. Here's our another Horseman. We were looking for some more. We have Horseman of Famine. Abominations can't be blocked by smaller sized abominations. No stuff is you only got 2 of the 4 horsemen, so like unless they're planning on releasing one every set, maybe there's one in the first set that I missed that I just didn't have. But that still means we'd be missing a 4th one at the bare minimum. We have Hubbardist, Husker Anima, Husker Glass Armor, Husker Scout, as well as Husker Aliens, Husker Spirit Stone. Whenever one of your alien minions would be destroyed, you may remove one of your other minions from the game to sever it instead. Husker Squad Leader, Hybrid Embryo. So what's kind of interesting about this is that there's a lot of these alien cards they added in here. So you can make a new alien type deck. We're still funneling enough stuff. They didn't have enough of it in here to make it like, oh, I feel like I only gonna buy this when I play them aliens. There's enough other interesting stuff in here. Interrogation. Krakon, Insectoid Alien. Last Rites. All minions have Martyr. Majestic 12. Discard your hand, retrieve a 6-cost bait card, and play it for no cost. Megavore. Deal X damage to target abomination. X is half the abomination's strength rounded down. In retrieving alien minion discarded, deal X damage to target abomination. X is double the discard strength. Yeah, I like also lots of the aliens have different subtypes too. We have a minion of Haster. If Haster is in your mana zone, this minion gains +2 strength. Follower of Haster, week 2. So that's cool to have specific followers. I wish they would add, that would have been neat if they would add them to the other gods too. Even if it was like one character for each god, like a specific follower. Morbid Inspiration. Neckredder. Neophrodite. Nerve Gas. Whenever one of your abomination reaps, tap target abomination. Neural Graft. Nocturnal Grazer. Nuclear Strike. It only costs 3 for a Nuclear Strike. Each player puts the top 5 cards of their deck into their graveyard. Oh, that's a dangerous effect, though. I'm surprised it only costs 3. We have another god. We have Nuit. The Eternal Mother. Shuffle a player's graveyard into their deck. Play at the top card of your deck revealed. If it is a minion, you may play it as if it were in your hand. Now, right there, each other card says discard 5. That would suck. But now, if you could play this right after it, or at some time, not that big of a deal. Omniving. Optilian. Orbital Mind Control. Overmaster. Probed. Destroy target one straight minion. Tap the abomination it was in. Sigor. Queen Neferter. Replication Chamber. Rebelling Coptic. Some more Cultists. Let's also discard some aliens. Cultists apparently don't like aliens. Selective Dissection. Name a card. Each enemy reveals your hand. Read 3 souls for each enemy who revealed the named card. That could be interesting. I don't think I've seen a whole lot of stuff that lets you see what's in people's hands, though. Shredding. I say that, and then immediately I get a card. It says, look at target enemy's hand. Choose a card. Reap 2 of their souls unless they discard that card. You play those cards back to back. Sting Shroud. Skywatcher, almost to the end here, Squirming Horror, Tepaphone, Twilight Hunters, Typhon, Quote Weather Balloon. Whenever you play a relic, use target top minion's conditional ability. Do not read this. Wee Willie, Willing Vessel, a Witness, and our last card is Zyxus. Alright, so I just quickly looked up what these purple effects does, just that way, in case you're curious, is they activate if there's nothing below them. So like any other one will activate if you have the same color. So like this blue one would activate if I placed it on here. I get this triggered ability. But to get a purple one, I have to play it when there's nothing below it. So that means it has to be a starting card. So it kind of adds an interesting, like, makes them kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Makes them like fate cards, essentially. Like, you play them once, you get a minion, and you get a fate card, essentially all tied together. And then you get to go from there. So that's how those work. Yeah, so you can find these for various prices online. I mean, you know, they might be, you know, people start getting into them, they might get a little bit more expensive. Some people are trying to sell collections. eBay, Amazon, there's various other card game sites that will be selling them. But that's the 3 different sets. Of course, the base set and the last Holiday Eve. The second set will be a little bit more because there's more cards in each one, so you'll probably have to buy more than one box to get a full set. But yeah, this is, I thought it'd be fun to do for Halloween. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys like this type of video where I go back and look at older card games, let me know. I'm thinking about doing this for other games like the older Dragon Ball Z games, Anachrism, some other different ones. If you guys enjoy this, I will definitely keep doing this. And then maybe like, you know, kind of like a secondhand market thing. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.